Well, Happy New Year.
I haven't seen you since last year, girl.
I know, right?
Here we are. It's 2024.
I was so sick of my husband's jokes on the first. He was like, I've been so good. I haven't ordered anything off of Amazon this year. And he's like, and I haven't eaten anything bad this year. And I'm just like, please stop. Like the whole thing. It was like, oh, please. Like it's one day. We're barely into it. So
Yeah. Yeah. We've been doing the same thing here. It's like, I haven't seen you since last year. This year. Yeah. And we had our first meal today. We had our very first meal today. The first year.
our corny jokes. Oh, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
corny jokes for corny folks. That's us. No.
That's right. Hey, it's
Oh,
good
but
to
it
be
is,
different.
yeah, it is good to see you. It's good to get back in the saddle and get back to talking about freedom and what God has in store for us. Already you and I are just seeing God accelerate things in an unbelievable way. And it really started last year, last month.
There we go.
That's it. And I think that we're both still kind of in a state of, I don't want to use the word shock, but maybe more awe at what God is beginning to do. How he's already fulfilling what he said to us and in our hearts. And I believe that today God's given you and I both, confirming words, not just for you or just for me, but also for our listeners, that he's got a word for them. And, if you're new to Freedom Wranglers and this is your first time listening to us, last year we started by sharing what God speaks to our hearts at the beginning of the year. Jamie and I ponder those things and we say to God, Lord, what do you have for us? What's the upcoming year entail? What do you want from us? And so as we have done that, he has just spoken really clearly. And we're going to share that with you. And what we would do is encourage you that if you haven't said to the Lord, Lord, what does 24 hold for me? What do you want from me this year? I
Mhm.
would encourage you, pursue that, do that.
Yeah.
Because as you do that, you're saying, I want your will in my life, God, not
Mm.
my will, but thy will be done. So pursuing him first is our motto. We always do that and push
Seek ye
ahead. And
first the kingdom of God. Yes.
yeah, without him, we're nothing.
Yeah.
And so he gave us unbelievable words, which we shared in our last podcast that he fulfilled, like beyond. So we are going to jump in here and we're going to share what we feel God is saying for 2024. And I would love to say, Jamie, what is God saying to you, my friend?
Oh, well, I'm going to start with this because it's pretty practical.
Hmm.
So sometimes God will use animals to kind of speak to you, in very practical ways. So just a quick little story here. First of the year, we had a skunk raid,
Uh-oh,
okay, in our chicken coop. So we
that's
have
stinky.
we have a bunch of chickens, and so they were all just minding their business, and then the skunk comes in, and we have security cameras all over in our house, and we could see stuff ping on my phone. It'll say, "Oh, there's somebody in your yard." And so anyway, we were able to investigate that. And so what happened was we had been laxed by leaving the door open to the coop, okay,
Mhm,
because we haven't had any problems,
mhm.
okay. And so we left the door down this one particular night, and these skunks were just running around and just terrorizing our chickens and our duck,
Oh my God.
and just causing havoc, wreaking havoc, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, what the heck is going on?" And so through all that, we had to bunker down the hatches. We had, you know what, we need to have a game plan here. We need to have a strategic plan here to safeguard these animals, because the enemy is out here prowling around like a roaring lion, waiting to whom he can devour. So this happened on the first of the year, 3 o'clock in the morning. So it was a revelation to me
Wow.
that the enemy is going to be out there strong.
Mhm.
Okay. And we Christians need to hunker down and get our stuff together and stop being hateful one to another and start loving one another and encouraging each other in their gifts and isolating the devil from us, okay, by the power of Jesus. And you can't, fight against the devil without Jesus's help. So you have to stay on guard always because he's constantly coming in. So that right there in a nutshell to me was a revelation for what's happening this year. There are big things happening. There's a lot of big things, a lot of big changes about to take place. We got a new president coming in this year, but
Take
I
it,
believe,
prophesy it, girl.
but I believe there's going to be big changes right now in the Christian community. And we had to hunker down and we got to be real cautious about that enemy that is waiting. And we can't be keeping the door down at night. Okay. You can't be going lurking around at night in the at bars and all these different things and thinking, oh, I can do this, and think that you could still walk in this. And we can't be watching Netflix movies where it's constantly showing you images of sexual immorality and cursing Jesus's name. We gotta cut that out because the enemy is trying to invade our space so that we can't be effective witnesses. And God has given you an opportunity right now to share Him because time is short. And that's what I've been
Yeah.
getting a revelation of. And I just thought it was interesting that God kicked it off with the skunks invading my food.
Yeah, it's a great analogy. And you said something there that sparked a thought in my mind, which was, you said we had become like lax, we become, slacken. And it happens in our walk with Christ. If we are not careful and we do not remain alert, we can become lax in our walk with Christ.
Mhm.
And we can miss that the enemy is just going to slip on in and he's going to try and rob us, because really that's what those skunks are trying to do. They're trying to rob you of them eggs, right?
The eggs. Yeah, they want the eggs. So that's what they've been doing is taking the eggs.
Little robbers. And
Yeah.
so the enemy, he is called a thief. You just said it. He is trying to sneak on in. He is trying to steal the things that God has planted in people's hearts. He's trying to steal your peace. He's trying to steal your joy. He's trying to steal your finances, your family, whatever it is. We have to remain alert. And we
Yes.
also have to remain in a state of, okay, I can't become lackadaisical in spending time in his word. I cannot become lackadaisical in spending time in prayer. That's when we batten down the hatches for real in our spirit walk with the
Mhm.
Lord, with our spirit man, is when we read the word and we spend time in prayer. So I think it's a great analogy, Jamie. And it's a good word for people. You've got to get ready. Got to get ready. Because I echo that in that something big is about to happen. Our nation alone is about to see something shift. I strongly believe that. And this is not a political based podcast by any means, but I believe that God is going to have his way no matter what man thinks he's going to do.
That's right.
God
That's
is
right.
going to have his
Yeah.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am excited for what God's going to do in that realm. I know it's going to get wild and crazy because we've already experienced this. We already kind of know, we're bracing ourselves for it. But
Mm-hmm.
it just as you have, you went whitewater rafting not long ago, maybe about 6 months back, y'all went whitewater rafting. You had to brace yourselves for those rapids.
Yeah, you had to prepare yourself. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a wild ride this year. So you
Buckle
guys
up.
better buckle up and get ready because just like whitewater rafting and just like them skunks out there that
Yeah.
are ready to come in and invade your space, they're coming.
Yeah.
And you need to be ready. You need to hunker down, buddy. I'm telling you,
Well,
you
and
got
that's some of the,
ready.
that's it. And God has said this to me numerous times over 2023, buckle up, buckle up. And I'm like, Lord, okay, what am I buckling up for? And so he was just like, buckle up, because I'm about to take things to a whole new level
Mm,
that people don't expect. And so revival is the first thing. I really believe revival. We've seen what I call the sprinkles of revival. in different places, in different churches, and different colleges and universities. We've seen the sprinkles, right? We haven't seen full-blown fire yet. Mark my words. I'm saying yet. I'm not saying maybe. I'm saying yet. It's coming, because there is a excitement and a giddiness that I feel in the spirit realm that is moving and is shaking, and it's a vibration that is coming from God, that he's about to wake up those that are in their slumber. A lot of people have been woken up from their slumber in Christ, but there's more that are about to be shaken, and it's a generation that's about to be shaken. And you know, for me, what God has really been saying is that I shared on our last podcast that He told me that there would be miracles in 24, and so sorry, in 23, and I saw that. Right. I was just like, and I shared that on our last podcast. So if you don't know about that, go back and listen. Right. And it'll encourage you. But I sat down and I have my journal here. I spend time in the Lord, and I'm just like, okay, God, what do you want? So on the 11th of December, I was spending time in prayer, I was reading the word, and I said to him, what does 24 hold for us, God? What do you want from us? And he said, 2024 holds more. I was like, okay, well, more what? And he said, more laughter, more love, more creativity, more than you can imagine. So hold on for more. And he even spoke to me after that, and he said, more miracles. So you've seen some of the miracles, but those aren't even the big ones. He says there's going to be more miracles, and they are going to be more than what you have seen yet. And so he told me, hold on for the more. And I'm telling you today, I would encourage you, there is more that God has in store for you. I don't know what 2023 was like for you. It could have been a garbage year. It could have been a mediocre year. It could have been riding the high year. I don't know. But what I do know is that God has more for his people. It's not just for Chanda or for Jamie. It is for his people. But for us to have more, he told me this, for you to have more, it requires you to spend more time with me. And this room that I record in, he said, is going to be the place and the space where I cultivate the more, where you get more of me, and it'll overflow into every area of your life. See, I am the God of more. And I was just like, whoa, okay, God. Okay, I want the more. Then he instantaneously took me to this verse, 1 Corinthians 2:9. And it says, however, as it is written, what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things of God has prepared for those who love him. And that ties in actually to prophecy that was in Isaiah 64:4. And I'll let you look that up yourselves, or Isaiah 65:17. He says that before. And so he is referencing these two verses. See, God told me, he said, I got more. You can't even imagine what I have. Your eyes have not seen the more. Your ears have not heard the more. Your mind cannot imagine the more, Chanda. But if you will just rest in me, you will experience the more. And so I just wrote down, I got to memorize this verse. I got to hold on to it. I got to quote it. I got to walk in it more in 24. So
more in 24.
come on, let's get the more. And I'm holding on to that. And, you know, the other thing that he spoke to me, and it was honestly, it was this morning as I was preparing. And he reminded me of when the children of Israel were crossing the river Jordan. And Joshua had given some commandments to them on how this was supposed to transpire. And he told everybody to get ready. That's in chapter 3. He's like, everybody get ready. Because see, tomorrow we're crossing Jordan and we're going into the promised land. And see, God told me that 24 is us heading into the promised land of what he has in store for his people. And I was like, okay, but there's more to that story, God. I know that there is. It's not just get prepared. So we've been in a situation where we've been told to get prepared. We've been in the chapter 3. 2023. And this is not a coincidence. 2023 was the year of preparation. Chapter 3 of Joshua talks about the preparation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
24 is the year of more. It is the year of crossing in to the promised land. Chapter 4 of Joshua is that chapter that they actually did it. And I want to read to you just a very brief bit out of the NIV, Joshua chapter 4, starting in verse 4. It says, "So Joshua called together the 12 men he had appointed from the Israelites, one from each tribe, and said to them, 'Go over before the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan. Each of you is to take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribe of the Israelites, to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask you, what do these stones mean? Tell them that the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. These stones are to be a memorial to the people of Israel forever.'" And you say, well, what in the world does that have to do with anything, Chanda? It has to do with everything. See, last year, God told me all of the miracles that happened. Those are the milestones. Those are the markers of what he has done for his people. And those are just my milestones. Those are just my markers of preparing for the more. The children of Israel had been living and wandering in the desert for 40 years. They were longing for the more. See, they didn't want to eat manna anymore. And they had to keep wandering until God said the time was right to cross that river Jordan. And he stopped that river. As soon as the priest stood in the river was stopped and the people could cross safely. But he wanted them to remember it, so he had them pick up these stones. So I don't know what memories you're carrying as mile markers from 2023, but pick them up and plant them down, because that is a memorial to what God has done. But he's about to give you the more. See, they got the more when they crossed in to the promised land. That is where there was plenty. There was more land than they could imagine. There was more fruit and vegetables and things that they could imagine. It was the land of plenty. And that is what we're going to experience in the spirit realm in 2024.
Good. So good. And I think that goes so much with hunkering down as well,
Mm-hmm.
because, the verse that was given to me was Mark 11:22, and this has to do with faith. Okay. This is faith. And Jesus said, have faith in God. And as they passed in the morning, they said, look, Rabbi, look at the fig tree. It has withered away and its roots. And Peter remembered and said to him, Rabbi, look, the fig tree you cursed has withered. So Jesus said, have faith in God. So it's active. That's an active thing. Faith is active. So when we're in this new year, we need to have that faith that moves the mountains, because those much mores are happening, and we need to step out of faith, and we need to make those phone calls. We got to talk to people. We got to get out there and make ourselves available. And that was something else the Lord said to me this year: availability. Make yourself available. Make yourself available. Have a Bible study, have a class, do something where you're actually engaged with others, because that right there is what's going to impact people. You can impact people online, sure, but when you get in person, there's something about being in person. Those kindred spirits get together, and there's fear. I mean, look what happened in Asbury. When people got together, they weren't online, they were in person. So to me, it's hunker down, make yourself available, and like you're saying, the much more is coming. But those much mores you got to hunker down with, right? You got to put that seatbelt on, because it's gonna be a wild ride, and them skunks is gonna come out, and they're gonna try to steal your joy and rob your joy and try to take your peace. They ain't never gonna take your peace, but it's just, you have to hunker down and stay in the Word, because it's coming. The much more is here. It's here right now. It's manifesting right now. We're seeing it, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. The thing is that more comes with a condition.
Yeah.
We can all receive the more that God has for us, the
Mm.
more of his love, the
Yeah.
more of his peace, more of his patience, all of the different things. We can go down a list of so many different things, right?
Yeah.
But he gave me a condition. You will only receive the more if you do what I require you to do, which is to spend time in my presence. It is to read my word. So it ties into everything that you just said about hunkering down. Don't be lackadaisical. Don't get out of the habit. Stay in the habit, because that is where the more will come from. Do you
Sure
want
do.
to hear his voice more? Sure you do. And you're like, I don't hear him. I feel like somebody's got their finger in my ears. I can't hear God. Or are you spending time with him? That's what I'll ask you. And you must ask yourself those questions, and you have to say, am I spending enough time with him? Am I giving him the time that is due? Because it's great to fill your time with everything else and everybody else. But did you put him first?
Yeah.
He wants our first fruits. So our first fruits isn't just our money. He wants our first fruits of our time and our attention and our adoration and our love. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
So if you want more, this is what I would say. If you want more in 24, if you want to experience the things that God has for you, if you want to be able to cross Jordan and walk on out into the promised land, then you've got to spend time with him. It's the requirement. That's what he said to me. And I don't believe that that just pertains to Chanda. I believe that that pertains to every Christian. How many times, Jamie, have we thought, God's just not, he's just not speaking to me. Just, I don't
Mm.
hear from him.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then the Holy Spirit just kind of taps you on the shoulder and is like, when's the last time you spent time with me?
Yeah.
You think 5 minutes in the morning, hippity hoppity, that's going to get it? And we've talked about this so many times about how the relationship with God should be our number one relationship.
Mhm.
But
And it's
that,
easy to get distracted. It's
it
very
is.
easy to get distracted. There's social media, and I know that especially our youth. I mean, I know it. We didn't have all these temptations that they have with all this technology, and it's interesting because this generation, it seems as if that they actually, that when they get away from the technology, all of a sudden they're like, I feel alive. Like with my son, we were in a Bible study Tuesday night, and normally he wants to, stay home and check out what's going on with his friends online. Well, we had the Bible study at our house, and he joined us, and it was like he was so thirsty for it. And we should be so thirsty for the word like that. Our young people are thirsty, guys. Don't overlook that. I mean, they are thirsty, and they are just as receptive to the Lord, just like anybody else. And even, yeah, we think, oh, they're young, and they're young, and they're just not ready. No, 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 they're ready. They're ready, because I saw it with my 14-year-old the other night. He was just like, please pray for me, because people at school don't want to hear about Jesus.
Right.
They want to hear about who's the strongest, who's the fastest, who
Mhm.
can throw that pitch, with baseball, or who plays
Mhm.
the best, or who has the best grades.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear about Jesus.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so those are the things, the boldness that is, I think, developing with our young people right now, is they're looking for that. So we are the ministers of that right now. We need to be their leaders and show them, hey, the boldness is here. We're right here. We got your back, man. You,
Yeah.
we help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know that there is a stirring amongst that generation. There's something that is taking place. We're seeing it in our own body right now.
Mhm.
And there's a hunger, but these are unchurched kids. And so this is probably one of the greatest challenges that our youth pastor has expressed to me, is that this is a whole new game for me. She said, every week is different. every week is something new because they're a different generation. And these are all unchurched kids that have questions, that want to know the Bible, want to understand it. And so there are people that are called like her to pour into these kids. And they are just like sponges. That's all I can say about this generation, is that they are sponges. They want Jesus. They want to know the truth. That's a key thing there, is that this is a generation that's been lied to so much. They
They
want,
could see through the mirage too. They could see
they
through the
can,
smoke and mirrors,
they
and they're tired
can.
of it. They're
Yeah.
like, I'm so tired of this. I don't want smoke and mirrors and light up, rock music and all that. I want raw, real, acoustic truth, maybe even a cappella truth. Okay. So just they don't need all that flashy stuff anymore. They just want the rawness of the Lord. They want his presence.
Well, because God is the only thing that is real, period.
Yes.
Everything that surrounds our lives has come from something that man has created. And as we were called to create. So that is, we're doing what God has called us to do. But it's when those things have become idols, and they have become the things that we have worshiped. And it's been, technology has just ramped up. I think about, my husband and I will be married 25 years this year. And I think about when we got married and where we were with technology and where we are now. 25 years, things have just blown
Oh,
blown
yeah.
up. And so we are distracted in this life. We
Mhm.
fail to spend time with God, and this is just me. I'm not down on anybody that uses their phone and the Bible app on their phone, because I use the Bible app too. But there's something about turning the pages of his word. There's something about picking it up and holding it and reading it and underlining it and studying it. If you don't have a Bible, that's where I get my more, is when I spend time in his tangible word. So it's alive, it's breathing. And there might be a time, guys, there might be a time in our world that those apps are blocked, that those apps are shut down, and we don't have access to them. So if you don't have a real Bible, say get a real Bible. You can get an ESV off of Amazon for $15. Okay. They come in black and teal and a couple other colors. There's my plug for Amazon and how easy it is to get a Bible right now. So
Simple.
it's very simple. But I don't want to belabor the issue, because I really feel that personally for me, I have shared what God laid on my heart with you. And I would encourage you, go and read 1 Corinthians 2:9. Go and read Joshua chapter 3 and chapter 4, and understand that progression that takes place.
Yes.
Because you might have felt like you were in the desert, wandering in 23, waiting. You might have experienced miracles like I got to experience. I don't know, but there were desert places in 23 for me. I'm not going to lie. There were hard moments of spiritual warfare that led to miracles.
Yeah.
But God has said, now's the time. I'm going to stop the river from flowing and give you enough time to cross it and make a memorial of the things that I've done for you, and see the future I have in store right in front of you. So that is all I've got for Freedom Wranglers today. I don't know if you've got anything extra, Jamie, but that's it for me. More in 24.
Yeah, more in 24, and hunker down and wrangle in freedom. That's what I got.
That's it. Next week, guys, we've got a really exciting guest. We got a couple of guests that are going to be coming on Freedom Wranglers. We're super excited about these individuals and what God is going to bring to the table through them, and how he's using them in ministry. So you don't want to miss it. Tune in next week. We love you. We're thankful for your support, and wrangle the freedom.
Wrangle it in.